Your camera, so this is what firemen would use to just toss on their phone in the event of emergency. So you guys should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. You're looking for the cold spots, which are going to be blue and black. What we're looking for with those is because you're going to have blue and black spots in there, but we're looking for them to either take shape, like change a little bit, or to obviously move around a little bit so I can kind of see what's going on with it. When I say take shape, it's normally in the form of a person. So again, it's like you see something growing and all of a sudden we have a full-blown walking person coming towards us. So orange, red, and yellow, we're going to try to keep a person in view at all times. We're going to talk more about that in our next location. But your video you're going to get back from this, there's a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen that is there for your aid. It is showing you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. I'm looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. It is 64 degrees out here for us tonight, so I'm going to be looking for things that are going to be 49 degrees and colder. Sorry, I had to do some quick math. The radar guy can do numbers too. So 49 degrees and colder, and we have caught things that have been all the way up to about 40 to 50 degrees colder than what it actually should be. So again, this is super cool. However, it is not something where we're going to capture something every single night, but we won't capture something if we're not recording. We're going to do a few starts and stops with this guy. Reason why? The hardware is great, software sucks. If we record for too long, we lose footage. I'm trying to get you as much footage as possible in relevant spaces. So at this point, now that you know how to watch it, I'm going to stop the video.
Maybe.
You know what readings that she's getting, she's going to be shouting them out. So, who the heck were Eliza and Charles Pinkney? Yeah, we're not spreading out yet. We got to get some history. So, Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. So that's 3 different Charleses. That's why we look for secondary clues, so we know who the heck we're talking to. So the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. If I don't bring it up, they'll normally bring it up through a spirit box very angrily. So I've seen it and heard it in the past. So we're going to talk about Eliza instead. Her history is way more interesting. She married Charles at a young age, according to today's standards. I say today's standards because if you're going to ask her how old she was, don't expect numbers like 12 and 14, like the colonial times that she came from. Think of today's standards. Her husband, the reason why I bring all this up, was over double her age. So definitely a creepy age gap between the two of them, even in today's standards. She married him because her father was over in England. He thought he was dying. He's trying to get all of his kids home so he can see him one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put. He got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not even a country yet. So she married him out of love. There's no foul play. Don't poke the bear. But she was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to the space we're standing in. One of the gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been here for at least a day driving around. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. I guarantee it. So indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. None of us are wearing it tonight. Look at that. I don't have one simple example. But when she got the seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it going and how to make the dye. When she figured it out, she moved it to a cash crop, got a hold of her dad, and said, our rice is close. I want to make sure you guys are matching up. So she says, this mic, start turning your dial to find out where it's kind of making.
What happened to the mansion here? Can you show me where your garden is? The weather is really nice tonight. You should come out and take a walk with us. What can you tell me about the indigo business? What were some of the gifts that you got from your dad? why don't you come out and take a stroll around the yard with us? Ask about the house. Ask about where the garden was. Ask where.
He said specific questions.
Yeah, I mean, when did the tragedy happen?
What's her name again?
London?
No, the English lady who had the Indigo company.
Oh, is it Elizabeth?
I don't always follow up with this camera in real time because the screen's so small. So I put them up on YouTube so you guys can watch them however you want.
Okay.
If in the event you find something, obviously I'm going to be diving around and looking like, is it a can on the ground? Is it I want to see something moving.
Yeah.
So again, the slower motion you have, the easier it is to find stuff. I'm sure you're noticing that the ground is obviously a multitude of different things. Try to also keep the sky out of view. The blue dot will default to the sky every time because there's no surface. So again, it kind of gives us that false positive and the negative numbers.
Gotcha. Yeah, we're looking for stuff like if we're seeing this dark blue down in here, we want to see this aberrate up to like
Exactly.
a person. Right?
Either that or
Yeah.
something black will appear, and like even a small ball, and it'll start moving around intelligently. Like I've caught full figures, I've caught people walking, and I have even heat anomalies on here that I can't explain. So I mean, temperature it's not created; it just fluctuates.
Sure.
So again, when something is growing in heat, that means there's a cold spot generating nearby as well because it has to fluctuate. So again, I always tell the people, like, if you see something that's growing in temperature very quickly, keep filming it.
So what was this lady's first name?
Eliza.
Eliza. I thought it was Elizabeth. Yeah.
Well, technically it was Elizabeth,
Yeah.
but Eliza for short. She went by Eliza. I'll just say that. All right.
It's just a parking lot now. Would be cool to see your mansion. How many kids did you have? Jacob for reference. Got Madeline.
said garbage and why I put big hole.
Yeah, you're kind of the star of the show right now, because I only have one spirit box out here to look at, where we get most of the real-time evidence. So have you guys played with these word generators before?
The guy at Waverly had one of those.
The
Was
Obelisk one?
Was
Like-
walking around and he would have, it would come up and he would pull up words like mommy. He would
Yeah.
have some things.
Well, they're meant to try to scare people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all know the stigma
Yeah.
of ghosts, right? I like this one because it has 9,108 terms in it. The little device he was using, even the ones on TV, they only have 2,048.
Oh, wow.
So there's way more that we can get out of this, even though 80% of it's going to be BS, right? So when I have that entourage of just terms, I'm going to sift through the whole thing. And you're going to get the whole list because
Cool.
sometimes things are relevant to you
Right.
that I don't know about.
Okay.
That actually happened last night. So, for example, the name Valentina showed up. The name of the family that was using this was Valentine.
Interesting.
So, again, we had other clues in there, but that one stood out. So it was very specific to them.
Neat.
All right, we did one more round robin. See how things are going. Any of the numbers?
Where are you buried, Eliza? Is it in a local cemetery? Your body's there, your spirit's here? We'd love to see you. Why don't you come out, say hi to us? We got a special little camera here. I could pick you up if you want to walk by our party over here.
All right.
No. Jacob likes his hair played with. Maybe you could touch his hair.
Jacob, you got anything else? All right, that silence is compliance.
All right.
Just bringing it on back. So again, just keep cognizant of the other group. Have you heard anything along the way?
Maybe a name narrative.
So you're gonna get better at this as we kind of
Yeah.
move along. Just so you know, it's not
A
an
lot
easy.
of random noises.
And keep in mind, like that's the first thing I listen to in the morning. I grab my cup of coffee, and that's what I'm listening to. So, yeah. So Meredith, interesting. I don't know who the hell that is, but hopefully I'll find out.
Sounds like a name from that time, so.
And it could be. That's an old name. This is Philadelphia Alley. We're not going to be able to spread out in here like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion. We're basically here to kind of stir things up. We're going to let this group pass through when they do follow, and then we'll kind of get started. So, any numbers at all? I'm surprised because we're over here.
And then we've like been hanging out all day. Yeah.
Down to my actual spot. Down a little bit further. I like going by the gate.
Walking off on us?
Oh, nice.
This here just gives us a much better view of it, not to mention the gate is significant to the location. But this used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur. Again, we're not going to spread out in here. First off, we're only allowed to go halfway. It's not fair to the other tours that we're trying to investigate. But we're just here to stir things up for when we're at our next space. Hopefully we're going to get a lot of clues through the spirit boxes from this location, which is often what happens. So we all tell the same story, but you're ghost hunting. This isn't a normal campfire marshmallow kind of ghost tour. So let's kind of get into the details. There was a duel that occurred, but we need to find out how it happened first. So there was a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. So with yours, Madeline, you're going to have a lot of trees and things like that, so just be mindful of that. You know, don't get too excited if you see somebody hanging from the trees.
It'd be pretty cool if it was.
I know. Granted, we would have to get some kind of confirmation of that, you know, that it was a real deal. I would be more interested if you've seen somebody laying on the ground, because this is where duels occurred. That would be my interest. But anyway, back to Doctor. He moves down. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So if you hear brown-eyed girl, it's not a coincidence, just so you know. We have part of his name. But Amanda, his fiancée, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So Dr. Ladd comes to Charleston to prove he's not after her money, and the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. His name was Ralph. No, his name wasn't Ralph. But somebody was walking by. He was about to see what was about to go down because he knew the coachman. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph because he has the same initials as where the doctor came from. I actually have a Ouija board device that they just invented last year in my bag. The reason why I bought it was for this location. We were getting the letters RI all the time because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor is from, Rhode Island. So again, we were getting it on spirit boxes. I just had one 2 weeks ago. DJ said all I caught was RI. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, these are weird things. I expected it on the Ouija board, not coming from there. But anyway, Ralph tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Why don't you come with me? I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, rent a room, you'll be safe. The doctor took him up on the offer, they became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point he wasn't just after Amanda's money. So, Amanda gets wind of this and she's moving down. So they're going to get married soon, and Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you'll ever visit has a cliched whistling ghost. I'm just going to put it out there. We all have one. We actually have proof of this one, and I'm going to get to that. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's just the hierarchy of the way things worked back then. They talk about the plays on the way home, and they went to go see Richard III one night. They're arguing over the new actress. Ralph didn't think she was so great, but the doctor did. So the argument gets really heated when Ralph is insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. Ralph puts an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. The doctor saw the ad, rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this. So they came down, they took 10 paces away from each other, they turned, the doctor pointed his flintlock into the air and shot his one bullet. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel. Ralph, however, had one bullet, and he put it in the kneecap on the doctor. Yeah, kind of nasty. The doctor drops to the ground, doesn't die. His friends picked him up, carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, on November 2nd, 1786. So, got a tour coming through, just be mindful. Probably going to come up this way. But at any rate, so every ghost tour that comes down here will tell you to listen for the whistles when you're down here. If you hear how quiet it is now, it's even like this on a busy Saturday afternoon.
Any special flavors or just the standards?
So it is always a... I don't know
Here's
who's up there.
ghosts.
I know, right?
Use this guy.
Oh, you're good, you're good. How are you, man?
Good, how are you?
Careful, we got a heckler at the top of the alley up there.
Okay.
We're allowed to go to 20 people. Wow. So, these other companies, they just pack it. This is why I like to only go to 10. Yeah, it's a lot. But, yeah, this way it's a little bit more intimate. I don't remember names. You have to mention the bags are 35 pounds. I don't need to be 70. Yeah. We heard a tour guide one night going, take pictures, guys. I can feel the orbs.
Oh.
So we make fun. Every time we're here, we kind of make fun of that.
You feel the orb?
Feel the orbs. But at any rate, so you're using my voice recorder right now, so obviously you're going to be listening for voices or any kind of whistles in the background. But the eerie thing about this is we've had the word whistle show up on spirit boxes in the past, and we've heard just whistling parts of songs while we've been in here as well, along with other clues relative to the doctor, because he was known as the whistling doctor. So if you're going to try this on your own, and you're going to be spending another day and you want to walk through here, by the way, this is probably the most picturesque place we have, so if you're a picture taker, it's like this day or night. It's just gorgeous. But turn on your voice recorders, listen to the recording later, see if you get any voices. But what I will tell you is that every local knows the story, just like our heckler at the top. They throw whistles down the alley. So London and I, we race because we have to pass the alley every night, to get back to the car. That's past the garage. So again, we always throw a whistle down here, especially since I got kicked out of here. Yes, I said kicked out. That's the fun part of the story, right? I was like, yeah, I can't wait for this. So, quick history. The alley didn't go all the way through this way. It was blocked off. This is where they kept the livestock. It was called Cow Alley at the time. This was before Duller's Alley, which means the bricks on that side of the alley are sun-dried bricks from slave children because they're older than the bricks we're standing on now. So, the slave sun-dried bricks down there's a full handprint from a slave child down there. And I always pointed that out because we all need to see how far we've come from slavery, right? And there's 3 locations around Charleston that has a handprint. However, everybody wants to try to get a reading out of that handprint. I treat that handprint the same way I do a grave.
Oh god.
It was a ghost.
I think I was just a little chipmunk.
Ghost chipmunk coming from
Well, I
there.
seen a mouse go by earlier, and I was hoping, Madeline didn't see it because he kind of scurried real fast.
No, I saw he went up there.
I saw him on here.
Yeah, you would be able to see him on there. You probably had just a little ball going across, which would have been funny. But at any rate, so my entire group on November 26th of 2020 is huddled around that brick with the handprint in it, waiting for something to happen. Again, that kid's not staring at that brick in the afterlife. That's the last place you're going to find him. So I'm trying to hurry them along because of that, and the fact that it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I was out of bounds and didn't know it. I was just trying to be respectful by, hurry up guys, we gotta keep going. The new owner of the mansion came out, screaming and yelling. This one thought it was fantastic because I'm getting yelled at by, somebody. So we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work on Thanksgiving because I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly with Walmart. You can understand why I don't work Thanksgiving ever. So the next day, November 28th, I get a phone call asking me to go down halfway, which is what we're allowed to do, or reroute. I decided my tour that night, I'm going to reroute. I told my group it's not fair for us to be working around 20 to 60 people, so I don't believe in this next story, but we're going to see what happens. I didn't believe in the story because I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. The next story is about pirates, and I don't have any evidence from it at that time. Before we left, on one of the spirit boxes, somebody heard the name Anne come through. What I did not tell that group was who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate, Anne Bonny. And I went, damn it. So we get up there, I told a little bit about pirates that I knew, and somebody else heard the number 300. I didn't know what that meant in real time, which is why I write everything down. I researched it the next day. We were there November 28th of 2020, and Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I went, damn it, now I gotta learn about pirates. So I read more books on pirates than I ever wanted to in my entire life, trying to get,
You play games on pirates.
Well, I do that too. So there's nothing wrong with reading and playing. But at any rate, so everything we're going to be discussing at the next location, minimum of 2 resources. Again, trying to piece together, factual data on pirate lore is difficult. So again, it's definitely not a prominent Englishwoman. We'll be able to poke the bear a little bit with some questioning, and it is definitely a weird space. Some things with your devices may occur. Things go weird and wonky with your device for sure, and we've had some definite motion sensing, and I'll show you how to do that with that location specific questions. So we are going to leave this space, and hopefully we're going to get more about the doctor over there. But again, with your recordings, if you want to stop them till we get to the next stop, we don't need to record people farting behind us with the thermal, now that we got the fart jokes out of the way. But definitely keep listening. Have you heard anything while we've been here?
Not much. I've kind of been listening to what you were saying.
Yeah, I know. I trying to get history and just enough so you have enough to go on.
6.0.
6, and anything coming out of yours?
2.3.
So again, up to like a 5, 6, I would expect on the lampposts. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite spots in the Charleston. It's gorgeous.
About 11 minutes into this recording, I thought I saw somebody walking that way. A dark figure.
Dark. Like dark as as in blue or dark as in black?
Dark is in like blue, like this blue, like it's pretty dark.
So I know you're trying to give me the marker, but that whole video gets spliced together.
Okay.
So that's very cool. But again, after we're done with the history here, this is a hit or miss location. We're gonna have a lot going on or nothing. And Bonnie is said to be seen all over town. So hopefully she's gonna be here in the 15 minutes that we are. That's the hope. Yeah, that's your shadow. It picks up shadows, just so you know. I don't know how or why it does it, but that's how it does. Still learning about this LiDAR technology. And by the way, I hate Apple products. I'm just going to put that on audio right now. And it took everything about me to not do this, because the only way to get LiDAR is on an Apple iPad. So I was like, ugh. So I'm even learning how to operate the iPad, because I don't even touch my wife's iPad, because it's hers. But anyway. Thanks. She's obviously Apple all the way, just so everybody knows.
We are an Android.
We use Android.
Yeah, me and my wife are both Android all the way too, but she has an iPad for school. But anyway, back to why we're here. The little building over there, those are not crosses on that building. Those are earthquake bolts. So I talked about that earthquake earlier. Basically, those are turnbuckles. They go all the way through the roof of that building. And if we have another earthquake, or greater than 1886, you can tighten those turnbuckles, and it's supposed to stop the building from getting any further. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The reason why we're here and I bring those up is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. The reason why is because that's the oldest government building we have in South Carolina. 1713. But here, because this is what I call a familiar. You watch the TV shows, you see them use a teddy bear to attract the child ghost. It's the same principle here, because Anne was coming to Charleston during the middle of the construction of this building. She recognizes it. She knows what it is. So that's why we're here. Let's get into Anne's history. Right in the middle of this construction is where the story begins. Follow me, there's a lot of twists here. So I will slow down on the twist so everybody gets it. 1708, a young lady named Anne Cormack moves here from Ireland. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was she, Brandon, to leave Ireland to come here? Just pointing that out. Don't make her angry. You'll leave the country. So now they land in Georgetown. That's just north of here between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means Dad is sending young Anne down here to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat while he maintains the actual plantation. Hence the familiar building. So let's step backwards a little bit. Anne back in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, remember this is pirate lore, nothing is exact, she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly. We have had the terms servant, knife, and belly all show up in the scene. Fast forward, the building is completed in 1713. 1715, pirates are going to town. Anne is stoked. She's about 16, 17 years old at this time. She wants to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. That's the way it works. So, first guy she falls in love with, yes, I said first because there's a handful and we're going to go through them, is James Bonny is the first one. You already see where this one's going because you already know her pirate name. So, that is the proof that he's a go for pirates and run away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormack is now Anne Bonny. However, when they got there, this guy is not Captain Jack Sparrow like the ship's over. This guy turned out to be a privateer. So he's a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. This is not who she was. A few years later, she falls in love again. This guy is named John Rackham. He goes by Calico Jack. Jack, this is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just so you know who this guy actually is. He has his own ship and wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why?
Bad luck.
Thank you. I get a lot of different answers to that question. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you can be part of it, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland as a boy apprentice to hide her away from his wife. So she gets it. Now she's on the crew. But let's put two and two together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So he drops her off in the queue. She'll have a baby, come back, figure it out later. She goes, has a baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. None of my research can find it. However, she just comes back dressed as a girl. This makes Jack angry because now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the ship. While she was giving birth, after another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go further because that's who Anne is. We're on guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We don't really know for sure, but the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are rumored to be the only two pirates to come up and fight, because the other ones were too drunk to come up. And they only had one bullet flintlocks because they didn't know how to use the cannons yet. So obviously 2 ladies are not going to take on a whole bunch of other ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, she looks at Jack, who's also being arrested, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." So the word dog shows up on our spirit boxes a lot. We've even heard barking as we enter the lot. That's the weird thing. So the judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back by themselves. Anne and Mary step forward, reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and he doesn't care that they're girls. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies, which means they are claiming to be pregnant, and you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her home, she remarries. That's husband number 2, the guy number 4. Not married. That's what we know. He has 4 kids, dies in jail. Yes, very funny. Mary dies a year later in a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. I'm sure it was nasty and gross. Most books would say that it was fever. I'm going to say it's pirates. Let's make it romantic. Let's call it scurvy. So, a couple of questions we can ask in this location. Well, I guess first off, we're going to start off with yours. You're going to be using the motion sensor, but you're going to ask Anne what her hair color is. And hopefully she's going to show you. Her hair color is red. The only way for her to get you red is to touch that antenna. We have had the red come up on command several times in this location. So hopefully you're going to find it. Any EMF as you get on that half of the space is going to be because of the parking meters and the electrical poles in the corners. So in between like a 5 to a 7, don't get excited. If you go way above that, I'll be excited. Nice. Yeah, definitely reset every time that thing's going on. I'm wondering if you've got something, because you keep getting those strong green colors. For you, Jacob, I left out 2 things. Everything else is fair game. You can ask whatever the hell you want to. But I did leave out the names of her parents, that's the father and the mistress, and I left out the name of Jack's ship. So I left those out on purpose, so you at least have something. Everything else is fair game. Just try to stay away from yes/no questions. So, stickman figures, like nice slow motions over here. I'm going to be super curious, because I will tell you, when psychics come on this tour, they always, a good psychic will see a soldier and they like describe him the exact same way, standing near the powder magazine. And they say it's blue pants, white shirt. They all say it. So they always say that that soldier's not happy that I keep bringing people here, but I don't care. You get evidence. So just nice slow movements over there. We can review some footage, so I'm just giving you a little bit of direction. We tried things with the thermal. We had to document, so let's see if we can get something out of that. Where did we get this year? So let's start out. We're going to know within like 5 minutes if we have something based on our figures. And I didn't pick my wood. Let's see if we can capture it.
I would say.
Something about soul.
That's like pretty profound right there. That's deep.
Man, I think he got someone reading poems too.
That radio station's deep.
The devil's poem.
So your camera in here, I've had small groups where I only use like one spirit box in that thermal, and that let's say it was me in London standing there, and she was using the spirit box. There was a white film that went over that person only, even though I was in the shot, and then that spirit box stopped working.
Interesting.
Yeah. We left the space, it turned right back on in record mode, and there was no alteration in the recording whatsoever. Because I went through it very thoroughly to make sure like what the hell happened. There was no interruption in the recording, and there was only one for the night. So it was weird.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the residual. Like when people walk, you can see the residual heat behind them, like a little silhouette.
Sure.
That's what I saw in the alley, but there was no heat. It was that dark, like silhouette, like.
Nice.
And that's why I was like, that's crazy looking. I saw it twice.
So when I say we've seen people on there, like I've had cold figures walking toward us, and I verified it with another camera being used that night that there was nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm talking like arms, legs, head, shoulders, like the whole nine, and they're walking towards us.
Yeah, that tour group wasn't at the end of the alley either.
Nice. Yeah, I made a big note to check. Like when you guys see things in real time, like that's a big marker in my book.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not every night we capture something with it, but when we do capture it, it is usually a holy shit moment. Like it's good stuff. Like the clues we get from the spirit boxes, unless we get full sentences, I'm like, yeah, it's really cool. We got little clues here and there, but when we get visuals, that's where I'm like super excited. It's just weird only having one spirit box out here. I'm so used to multiples. Again, I got enough different ones.
Where's the soldier?
Yeah, these are apartments up here. Sometimes we get the peekers, like who's out there on the ghost tours now?
Yeah.
I have a few numbers, 703 and 20,000.
Shouting what they capture.
Yeah. This spot's kind of.
It's so difficult.
Just because it shifts through so much.
I think it's important.
Yeah. Well, it may not. You may not think it's important.
Well,
Right?
something.org.
Yeah.
The website.
Yeah.
We're not getting a whole lot of readings of anything. I only had a party at 2. It was a nice cold night. I said, let's go explore. I need something new for 2023. And we had the exact year of the birth of the man on that bust. We also had his name. His name is Henry Henry Timrod. Wow, is it loud in here all of a sudden? Henry Timrod. So the name Henry showed up and the name Tim showed up. And we had 1828 confirmed from the spirit box. That's his birth year. I was like, oh shit, I know I've heard the story, but now I gotta do some research. So here's basically how this goes, very short. The man was sick for most of his life. Obviously born in 1828, he was alive long enough to be part of the Civil War. But when he actually wanted to fight for the Confederacy, he goes out to battle. His friends realize he's too sick to fight. So he realizes the camera's on the wrong side, by the way. So if you're so if you were recording, stop it and restart.
Okay.
Poet, and they say, go be the voice of the war. Go tell everybody what's going on out there. So he did. He came home, started writing poetry about what was going on the battlefield. A few years after that, he has a son. It's a big part of his life, but the man is still sick. So you're going to find out, hopefully, what the son's name is, his birthday, and how old he was when he passed away. He died away pretty quickly. I'm not going to tell you exactly how long, but hopefully you're going to find out. A few years after that, his college friend calls him up and says, I know you've been going through mourning with your son. Why don't you come out to my cottage in Columbia, and you can finish working on your piece out here, and then come back. Get away from the wife a little bit, give her some time. So he takes him up on the offer. That's where he writes his last words. His last words were, beholder of brief mortality, which translates to person of short life. And then the man coughed, and it landed on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. We were just talking about the TB hospital, right? So the blood stain actually looks like a man writing. The whole collection from this guy's poetry. Wow, I am so pissed off it's this loud over here. Normally it's nice, quiet, and creepy for us, and now we got all the but at any rate, so this collection is actually held at the Charleston Library Society, and they only show it one day a year. The reason why is called the Blood Book. So they only show it on Halloween. That's the irony of everything. So we've had the word blood and book show up, and now we got it super loud because we're right outside the indoors. So this is a pretty shy guy. So hopefully it's not going to take us long to get some kind of interaction with him. But this is the blood stain that he popped up. See where it looks like a man writing. So, but again, this is the page that they display on Halloween, and only members of the society can go and visit it. But the internet is beautiful, which is how I'm able to show you guys at the same time. So, I will tell you, in Middle Grass and North on this area is where we've been getting readings of well over 100. So I will tell you that the REM that they're pushing in now probably might bounce around a little bit, but it's hard to say when you get all of those crazy readings. Why we have the SLS cameras that you have right now is because somebody brought one on my tour, the big ones you guys see on TV, on the tour, and we didn't have any interaction until we got here. Jesus Christ. I'm going to be honest, this is going to disrupt what we're doing out here. Like, I will be super surprised if we get anything coming out of what your spirit box is doing right now.
Yeah.
Because again, this is a shy, introverted man, so he doesn't like a lot of noise. But at any rate, we had a full 8-minute interaction right at the bust from that man's SLS camera. When I say interaction, it was a, hey Henry, is it okay if I read some of your poetry? Raise your right hand. It raised his right hand. And the irony of what happened to this is that after that 8 minutes was over, a woman went over to the side where the figure was standing in the camera, and she outstretched her hand to shake her. She said, Henry, can you shake my hand? And he disappeared. And we never got him back. The reason I'm guessing is because he was alive during the 1800s, and it's probably disrespectful for a woman to ask her hand to be shaken that way. So again, very odd space. We're going to spread out. Hopefully, we do get things from other monuments in here, but definitely focus on Henry. Let's see if we can get something. Have you heard something? It's like, you think you got to tell me something.
Yeah, when I'm walking over, it might be a stretch, but I could have heard blue and indigo.
On the way over here? Maggie, any numbers out of yours over here? Nothing. So she had a 15 and you had nothing. So super weird. Let's go see if we can get it actually. guys read any of these memorials in here?
We didn't get a chance to walk in here. I took some pictures from the gate as we were going by.
So it's that shown over there. It's actually a memorial to Andrew Jackson's mother, Elizabeth Hutchinson.
Interesting.
So we've gotten things relative to that in the past, like John, mother, Elizabeth, like those kinds of things have popped up. There's another one over there to Marguerite Volk. I don't know her whole history, but on that Ouija board, we've had her whole name spelled out, missing one letter. Her name is Marguerite. Like, that's a long name to be spelling out. And it was consecutive. It wasn't like an anagram where we had to figure it out. It was all consecutive.
She's Margaret.
Okay. I mean, this was like Guerite,
Oh, yeah.
like very long.
Oh,
I think we
yeah.
were missing like one of the R's. I was like, that's crazy.
If you're a picture taker,
These large tours just kill me. Madeline's doing great, by the way. Like, look at her. She is all over that thing.
And she likes that stuff.
I heard Letterman.
He was a man who wrote letters.
Was a man of letters.
A man of letters.
Paint.
Hi.
English Gridley. You need another teenager, dude? 'Cause
They're expensive enough as it is.
Hey, I have my own job. I have my own money now. Because it was already paid for. Otherwise, I'm using the eggs for the brownies. No.
it's really loud when she stops talking.
Honey's really good enough to.
Again, I like lyrics too. So if I hear something that's a song lyric, you know what I mean? I'll put it in your notes that it was a song lyric, so you're listening for a song being played. All right, I think now's our chance. Let's make a
Yeah.
break for it. Let's see what we can do. Very nice, Joe.
I would be bending down if I dropped these.
Oh. Wow. There was something.
We had he was tall.
Yeah, he was like, it was like up to like the chest of the bus.
But he, the gentleman using the camera, was using it on the other side. And we had him right here. So it wasn't picking up the actual line.
I think this is like picking up that. We have like, yeah, yeah.
Come on, Henry. I know there's a lot of people in there. Help us out, buddy. Still on the same damn word. You got anything coming?
I think I heard Incredible Tragedy, and I heard the name Wilson.
catch some.
Who else does a late night show named Wilson?
And see if they, like, he's so cool.
I hit a 30
Nice.
Oh.
Over there, I want to say we've gotten it up into the 60s.
Okay.
But the one where all that
I
people
heard it
standing
too,
was
with the-
157. And it went on forever. And I say like varied between 100 to 150, probably a good 15, 20 minutes. It was a long time. Anything crazy coming up on your cam?
No.
What do you think, Madeline? You got anything? It'll pick up the gate and there's a lot of things in the line here.
I feel like it's stripping.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome,
I
yeah.
feel like it's an actual lawn. That's still good. Our
Nothing on
house
yours?
right now is a.
Funny thing is, the doctor's not very anywhere near here, but we have had crews in there because 59 Church Street is, it's like 0.3 miles that way. I had to look it up one night because we had a bunch of things come up about that specific house because it's called the Thomas Rose House now. So we had like Rose, 59, Yellow, like all of these clues about the house. And I was like, where is that in comparison? Just sitting on the bench. I don't know if she's waiting on somebody or just goes.
Just chilling. It's a nice park. It's a nice little park to hang out in.
Yeah. Well,
It's out of the hustle and bustle.
well, again, with all these tourists coming through, when I don't time this.
Yeah.
So when we're not getting anything from space, we just go. You know what I mean? And that's sometimes we're here early, sometimes we're here